Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can support alternate app icons in your iOS app. So you'll be able to display the different icon options and choose the icon that you want displayed on your device's home screen. Now, I'm not a designer, so I won't show you how to actually design and create these icons. I created three very simple icons using an online icon generator, so you can do that as well. The generator I used is called Easy App Icon, and basically you can just provide like an image that you want in the foreground, and you can change the background color, and you can just download the icons that you need. So I used this to create my icons. Now we're going to start with an Xcode project. Make sure you select SwiftUI for the interface. And so before we start to add the alternate icons, what we want to do is first add the default or the primary icon. Now, usually you add these icons under assets in an image set. This one's called app icon, as you can see. Now, for this tutorial, we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to add the icon files directly in our project. So I'm just going to create a group here, and I'll call it assets. And now inside this group, we're going to insert our images or for our icons. So I created some icons, like I mentioned. I have them here on my desktop. And so I'm going to use this one called robot for the default icon. And you can see I have two different images. One says 2x and the other one says 3x. So you need to provide both sizes. And the 2x is an image that is 120 by 120. And the 3x is 180 by 180. So make sure you have both. And so I'll just select both of these, and I'm going to drag and drop it under my assets group. And let's create groups, copy items. Okay, let's do finish here. Perfect. So now in our assets group, we have the two images that we need. So now we're going to use them to display them in our app. So let's see. We're going to modify our project's info property list. And this list, it's an XML file that contains configuration information for our app. For example, the orientations that our app supports are defined in this info file. So this is where we're going to add the information about our app's icon. Now, usually Xcode shows here the info file in this file navigator, but or project navigator. For some reason, it's not here. So what we'll do is just select the app icons project. And here in the targets, I'll select app icons. And we have this info tab right here. So we'll select that. And you can see we have the iOS target properties. And for example, we have bundle name, interface orientations, bundle version, etc. So this is where we're going to add information about our app's icons. So what I'll do is actually I'm going to right click on any of these keys, and I'm going to select row keys and values. I prefer looking at it this way. And once we do that, what we'll do is we're just going to press this plus icon, and we're going to add the key for the icons. So here we need to add CF bundle icons, and we're going to press enter. Okay. Now, what we can do here is if we press the CF bundle icons key, you can see that we have different values. One is a dictionary whose key is CF bundle primary icon. And it has values, for example, the CF bundle icon name the CF bundle icon files, whether this is a pre-rendered icon, and in this case the value is no. So okay, now we can the newsstand icon, we can actually just get rid of this newsstand icon. And so, okay, in CF bundle icon name, we're going to name our default icon, let's just name it default. And then for the CF bundle icon files, you can see that the value is an array of strings, and the icon file, in this case, it's called robot. And you don't need to add either the 2x nor the file extension. These add 2x and add 3x are automatically understood by Xcode, and it can choose the icon file depending on the size that it needs. So you don't need to specify that in the icon files. Okay, so if we run our app now, we should be able to see the this default icon in our home screen. So let's go ahead and run our app. Okay, so now that our app is running, we can press the home button, and as you can see, we have our app, and it shows the robot icon. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to Xcode and start working on some parts of the UI of our app, and then also add the alternate icons. Great, so let's stop our app, and before we add the alternate icons, we are going to add a class that will hold settings for our app. It will tell us what the currently selected icon is. So let's add here a new file. This will be a Swift file, and I'm going to name it app settings. Let's press create. Okay, so now that I have my app settings file, what I'm going to do is I'm going to define a class. So let's add here public final class app settings, and app settings will conform to observable object, and this will allow us to observe the currently selected icon. And we're first going to add a published variable, and this is going to be the index of the currently selected icons. So we can call it icon index. So we can add here at published public var icon index, and this is an int, and initially this will be 0. And now we're going to define a structure that will represent each of the icon options that our app supports, and this structure will have 3 properties. So let's add here a public struct icon, and the first property is the display name, which is the name that the user will see in the list of icon options in the UI. So let's add public let display name, which is of type string. Then let's add the icon name, so public let icon name, which is an optional string, and the image, so public let image, which is an optional UI image. Okay, so the icon name here is optional, and we'll see why in a moment. But now we can go back to our app settings, and we're going to add 2 more variables. The first one will be a list of icons that our app supports. So let's add here public private set var icons, which is an array of icon, and initially this is just an empty array. And now we will add a computed variable that will give us the name of the icon that is currently being used. And this will be an optional string because the method that we call to get the icon name will return nil when the default icon is selected or the primary icon is selected. So we can add here public var current icon name, which is of type string and it's optional, so we add question mark, and this will just return UI application.shared.alternate icon name. Okay, so now one more thing before we move to work on the UI is we're going to add a private function that is called fetch icons. And what we will do here is we're going to read the info property list file to populate the icons list and determine the index of the currently selected icon. So let's add here public func fetch icons. And so first we're going to try and read the CF bundle icons dictionary from the info file. So if you remember, we have info, and there's a key here that is called CF bundle icons. So we're going to try to read this and then obtain the primary icon, and from there obtain the name and the file name. So let's go back to app settings, and in fetch icons, I'm going to do first if let bundle icons be equal to bundle.main.object for info dictionary key, and here the key is CF bundle icons as a dictionary that maps a string to any. So if we can get the bundle icons, first we're going to obtain the default or primary icon. So this is what I'm going to do here, try to get the default icon. So first let's get the primary icon. If let primary icon be equal to bundle icons, and now we're going to use the primary icon key. So this is CF bundle primary icon, and we'll convert this to a dictionary that maps string to any. And if you see, we can go back to our info file. So we have icon files, then primary icon is another dictionary, and inside that dictionary we have the icon name, and we have a list of strings with the file name. So we're going to try and obtain the file name and the icon name for now. So let's go here to app settings again. So if we can get the primary icon, then from there we want to get the icon file name. So let's do here let icon file name, and the icon file name will be equal to primary icon at the key here is CF bundle icon files. And remember, this will give us a list of strings. So let's try to convert it to a list of strings. And if we can convert it, then we want to try and get just the first one. So let's do first. So if we're able to get the icon file name, then what we'll do is we're going to create a new icon object, and we're going to add it to our list of icons. Let's also get the display name. So that's what we have here under icon name. So in app settings, let's do let display name be equal to, we'll do here primary icon at cf bundle icon name, and we'll try to convert it to a string. And if for some reason we can't read it, then we'll just use an empty string. And so now we will do icons.append new element. We'll create a new icon, and the display name, we just got it. For icon name, in this case, we're going to use Neil. And for image, we're going to create a UI image named, and here we can just use icon file name. Okay, so we're creating our default icon, and now here for the icon name, we're using Neil because the method that allows you to change your app icon, you have to provide the name of the icon that you want to use for the alternate icons. But if you want to reset your app icon to the primary icon or the default icon, then what you have to do is just use Neil as the icon name. So if we go to the documentation, you have set alternate icon name, which is the function that we're going to call, and the alternate icon name parameter is what you have to provide to change the icon. And you can see here it says specify Neil if you want to display the app's primary icon. So that's why we use Neil for the icon name here. And now that we've populated this list, what we're going to do is we are going to update the icon index to make sure that this index reflects the index in the icons list of the currently selected icon. So let's do here icon index is equal to icons dot first index where icon in, and we'll return icon dot name or icon name equals the current icon name. And then if we're not able to get that index, then we'll just default to 0. Okay, so now that we've updated our icon index, what we're going to do now is add the initializer for our class. So let's add public init, and in this initializer we're going to call fetch icons. And now we're ready to start working on the UI. So let's go to the content view file. Now in content view, we're going to start by creating an app settings object. So we're going to add it here in the content view structure. So let's add here add state object app var add state object var app settings, and this is of type app settings, and we're going to create a new app settings object. Now that we have these, we're going to add some reusable views. So first we're going to add the view that will show each icon in the list of icons. So I'm going to call this icon row. So let's add here struct icon row, which is of type view. And to create an icon row, we're going to need an icon. So let's add public let icon, which is of type icon. And then we're going to add the body of our view. So var body, which is some view. And here, first, we're going to add a horizontal stack or H stack with an alignment of the center. Inside this horizontal stack, we're going to add an image with a UI image, and we're going to use the image provided in the icon. So icon the dot image. If for some reason it's not present, then we can just use an empty UI image here. And after the image, we're going to make it resizable. We're going to set its frame to have a width of 60 and a height of 60 as well. We're going to modify its corner radius with a value of 10. And we're going to add some padding on the trailing side. And then after the image, we're going to add a text. This text will show the icon's display name. So icon.display name, and we're going to make this bold. And finally, we're going to add some padding to our horizontal stack. So let's add here padding with a value of 8. Okay. Now we're going to add a view that will show the list of icons, so or the list of icon rows. And to know which icon is selected, we're going to use the app settings object that we created here in content view. And we're going to do this by using an environment object. An environment object is provided by a parent view, and then all child views will be able to access it. So it's a good tool to use for app settings, which is something that you may need throughout different views in your app. So we'll see how to use it in a moment. Let's add here our struct. I'll call this icons list view, which is of type view. And we're going to define our environment object. So add environment object var app settings, and this is of type app settings. Now let's add the body of our view. So var body some view, and to create our list, we're going to add first a form, and inside our form, we're going to add a picker, and in this picker, we're going to add a title for our picker, which is app icon. And then to determine which element in the picker is selected, we're going to use the icon index that app settings gives us. So we have to provide here the selection parameter, and it's a binding, so we use the $sign for the binding, and we'll do this using app settings dot icon index. Now, what will be the content of our picker? Well, for each of the icons in our icon list, we're going to add an icon row. So let's add here a for each app settings dot icons dot indices. So for each index in our icons list, where the ID will just be the index itself, so we can use slash dot self index in. So for each index, we're going to add an icon row. Remember, to create the icon row, we need to provide the icon. So we'll do here app settings dot icons at the current index, so index. And we're going to have to provide a tag to our icon row, which is just the index. Finally, we're going to modify the picker style. I'm going to use a inline picker style, so we can do that below our picker dot picker style dot inline. Okay, so now we can go back to our content view and update the UI there. So usually, you see settings provided in you have like a toolbar, for example, and there's an icon there that you press and it takes you to a settings page. So I'm going to try and imitate that. So let's get rid of this text here, and let's add a navigation view. inside our navigation view. So the main screen of our app will just be a list of numbers. So let's just do like list from 1 to like 20. And then the ID is just the number. So .self I in. For each number, I'm just going to add a text that shows that number. Now we're going to add the toolbar that will show the settings icon, and this icon, when pressed, will take you to the icons list view. We're going to do that with the toolbar modifier. So it's a .toolbar, open curly brace, close curly brace. Now inside this toolbar, we're going to add a toolbar item. So let's add here toolbar item. And to create a toolbar item, we have to provide the content that will be inside of it. So let's add here toolbar item, open curly brace, and inside our item, we're going to have a navigation link, which will be a button. And when this button is pressed, we will go to icons list view. So let's add here navigation link. We have to provide a destination and a label. So in our case, the destination will be the icons list view. We're going to modify the navigation bar title display mode using navigation bar title display mode. This will be inline. And now to provide the app settings to our icons list view, since I said this is an environment object, all we have to do now is use the environment object modifier to supply our app settings to the icons list view. So .environment object app settings. And finally, the label of our navigation link. This will be an image with the system name, and this is gear. And lastly, we're going to add a title to our navigation bar in the main view of our app. So let's do that under our list. We'll add navigation title. I'll just call this something like my app. It doesn't really matter what we put here. Okay, great. So let's run our app again, and now we should be able to see our UI. Before we do that, if you're using previews with SwiftUI, then you'll have to provide the environment object here to make sure that your preview works well. So environment object, and you can just create a new app settings object for your previews. Okay, now let's actually run our app. Well, as you can see, we have the main screen, which is just a list of 20 numbers. And here at the top, we have our toolbar with a single toolbar item, which is the settings icon. And if we press this, then we should be able to see the icons list view. And it will display the icons that our app supports. In this case, we only have the default icon as of now. And then the selection state should be updated as well. So let's click settings. And as you can see, we have our picker, which right now, of course, only has a single item, which is the default icon with the image and the display name. And the picker automatically displays this check mark since this is the selected index in the picker. Right now, pressing it doesn't really do anything. We're going to implement that in a moment. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to Xcode and add our alternate icons. So we're going to add 2 alternate icons that the user will be able to choose, and those will be displayed in the home screen of your device. Great, so let's stop our app and go back to Xcode, and inside our assets folder, we're going to drag and drop the alternate icons. So again, I have my icons here. I have two different alternate icons. One shows the lollipop emoji and the other one shows the tennis ball emoji. So let me drag and drop the lollipop icons, and I'm gonna do the same for the tennis icons. And you can see I have the two different sizes like I mentioned earlier. We have the 2x and the 3x. Okay, perfect. So we should have all our images now. So we're going to go to our info property list file again, and we're going to update it so that it takes our alternate icons into account, and we'll be able to read the alternate icons from our property list file in app settings, similar to what we did with the primary icon. And we'll be able to append those two inside our icon list. And so our content view will be updated to display all three different icon options. So let's go again to our info file. I'm going to right click again and show row keys and values. I prefer that. So we have CF bundle icons over here, and we've defined the primary icon. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the alternate icons. So we're going to select CF bundle icons, and in that same row, I'm going to press this plus sign, and I'm going to add a the alternate icons key. So let's press plus here, and I'm going to add CF bundle alternate icons. Not sure why autocomplete isn't working, but this should be okay. So CF bundle alternate icons, and I'm actually going to get rid of these three things. This shouldn't be here. So under CF bundle alternate icons, let's add the dictionaries for each of the alternate icons that we will support. So we can press here the plus sign. We're going to add a new item. In this case, the key will be lollipop for the first alternate icon, and that's the icon's name. And the type is dictionary. Okay. So now under lollipop, which is a dictionary, we're going to add the first key. This key is CF bundle icon files. And the CF bundle icon files has a type of array. So under the CF bundle icon files for lollipop, we're going to add the name of the file. So let's try to open the icon files. It's empty, so there's no items yet, but we can press plus here, and it's going to add the first item. And it's a string, and the name of the file is lollipop. Now we're going to add another key under the lollipop icon, and let's see. This is going to be UI pre-rendered icon, and this is a boolean, and its value is 0. Okay, so we've added the first alternate icon name, or the first alternate icon, which is lollipop. Now we're going to add the second alternate icon, which is the tennis ball icon. Now I'm going to show you another way to edit this list. So you can see Xcode added this app icons info list on the project navigator, and it should be updating with primary icon and alternate icons here. Let's make sure this looks good. Okay, I think this looks good to me. Now there's another way to edit the info file. Instead of using this UI, we can update the raw XML file. So let's do that for this second alternate icon, and that way you know both ways. So you can right click on the info file and press open as, and I'm going to select source code. So you can see here we have the XML file with our primary icon and our alternate icons as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the information for the lollipop icon, and I'm just going to update it for the tennis ball icon. So we have our alternate icons key here, which has a value of a dictionary, and inside that dictionary, the key lollipop has a value of another dictionary, where the key CF bundle icon files provides an array of strings with the file name, which in this case is only one item, lollipop. And then we have the key UI pre-rendered icon, which is a boolean and has the value false. So what I'll do here is I'm going to copy these lines and paste them, and I'm just going to update here the icon name for tennis. The tennis ball will be tennis ball, and the icon file is called, I think it's just tennis, so we can just put tennis here. Now this is just a different way of updating our file. If we open it again as a property list, you can see it should be updated. So we have our alternate icon names, and we have lollipop, and now we also have the tennis ball icon here. Okay, so now that we have our info property list updated, what we can do is go back to our app settings so that we can read the alternate icon names from the file, and we're going to make some final updates to our UI. So under fetch icons, we are going to add here the code to get the alternate icons. So let's add here a comment. So this is where we're getting the alternate icons, and let's try and read those. So we'll type here if let alternate icons be equal to bundle icons, and the key here is CF bundle alternate icons, and we'll try to convert it to a dictionary that maps a string to any. So if we're able to do that, we're going to use a for each loop. So alternate icons dot for each, and this for each will give us the key and the value of each element in this alternate icons dictionary. Remember, the key here is the icon name. So icon name, comma, let's do something like icon info in. The icon info will be another dictionary, so let's try to convert that. If let icon info be equal to icon info as a dictionary that maps string to any. And then if we're able to also get the icon file name from our icon info, so let's open parentheses and we'll do icon info. To get the file name, we have to get the CF bundle icon files. Remember, this is a list of strings, so let's try to convert that. as a list of string. If we're able to get the first element there, then we've obtained the icon file name. Now, if we are able to do that, then we're going to add a new icon to our icons list. So let's call here icons dot append new element. I need here an equals. So icons dot append new element. So we'll create a new icon. Display name is icon name, and then for icon name we'll use the same thing. And for the image, we're going to create a UI image named icon file name. Okay, so perfect. We are now reading the alternate icons from our file or our info file. So now our content view should display those icons as well because they're being added to the icons list. So let's run our app. And if we press our settings, you can see that now we're seeing all of the different icons that our app supports. Now, when we select any other icon, let's say I select the tennis ball, if I go to the home screen, the icon didn't change because we haven't actually called the function to change the icon. So we're going to go back to Xcode and we are going to make the final update to our UI to make sure that our icon is updated. So let's stop. And in our content view, under this picker style line, I'm going to add the code to handle changing the icon. So let's add here dot on change of. So whenever the icon index changes, so on change of app settings dot icon index, I want to perform an action, which in this case is update the app icon. So first, we're going to make sure that our app supports changing icons. Let's add here new index in. And to verify that, we'll do guard UI application dot shared dot supports alternate icons. Else, let's just print something like app does not support alternate icons, and we'll return. Now, after doing this, we are going to check the index of the icon that is being displayed right now before we try to update the icon, just to make sure that the selected icon is a new one. So let's do let current index be equal to app settings dot icons dot first index where icon in return icon dot icon name equals app settings dot current icon name. If we're not able to get that, we'll just default to 0. So we're going to check here guard new index is not equal to current index. Else, if that's the case, we'll just return. The index didn't change, so there is nothing for us to update. Now, if the index did change, let's get the new icon selection. So let new icon selection be equal to app settings dot icons dot icons at new index dot icon name, and we're going to call UI application dot shared dot set alternate icon name. Here we provide new icon selection, and we need a completion handler error in, this error will be nil if we were successful in changing the icon. But if we get an error for some reason, let's just print it to the console. So if let error equal to error, print, let's do error dot localized description. Okay, so now we are handling changes to the icon index, which means that we should be able to update the icon displayed in our app. So let's run it one more time and see what happens. Okay, so we have our app, and if we go to the home screen, we still have our default icon. But if we open settings, we should now be able to select any other icons. So let's say I select tennis ball. You see I get this dialog that says you have changed the icon for app icons. So if I go to my home screen, you see I now have the tennis ball icon. If I enter settings again, the tennis ball icon is selected. Now let's say I want to change it to lollipop. Again, my app icon is updated. Let's say I want to go back to my default icon. I can do that as well. So if I go to the home screen, my icon has been reset to the primary or default icon. Well, that's all I wanted to show you in this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it and you learned something new today. If you want to learn more about iOS development with Swift and SwiftUI, make sure to subscribe to my channel as I'll be posting new videos very soon.